Hello everyone, Aksana here. Before we get started, I have a quick presentation that I want to share with you. So I'm going to share my slides and I want to teach you something that we've been teaching our clients in the program. So in a program, when we work with our clients, we always add not only education about the immune system and how to improve your immune function. So we have one class where we talk about the difference between immune suppression and the difference between immune system healing or optimization. Because when you are suppressing your immune system, people are more likely to get infections and cancer, and this is what drugs do. But when you're optimizing your immune system, not only you're reversing your inflammatory symptoms and autoimmune diseases, but you also improve the function of your immune system that helps you fight cancer cells and infections better. And we had a number of clients who had cancer in a program where the tumors shrank. We had a client who had prostate cancer, ovarian cancer, different types of skin diseases. And we also had a client who had breast cancer who was going to go through the traditional treatment. It was early detection. And then they could not even find it in her body because she took action right away, and she did not have to go through any chemo or radiation to treat that cancer. It was in early stages. So what I want to share with you is this interesting study that was done. Before we go ahead, we do starting in next program next week. We can accept one more person into a program next week, and then we're going to invest heavily with our clients and commit to them in the next 8 weeks, working with them one-on-one. So 8 weeks, which basically gonna be the end of summer before we finish that program. So if you're looking to get help with your disease, then the first step is to book a consultation so we can go over your problems and then decide whether or not it makes sense for us to work together. And I personally don't invite people into a program that I don't think they would benefit from us working together. And then if I strongly believe that you will benefit from it, then we're going to extend the invitation. But I'm going to share my slides with you, and I want to share with you this really study that's going to make it's going to be really interesting to you. So just bear with me for 1 second. Actually, I'm on Zoom, so I'm able to share my slides. Okay, so just a quick reminder is that we have worked with clients who had neuropathies. We had a client who had a MS for 20 years, and she said a program is the best thing that she has ever done for her health. And she's done a lot of treatments, like even stem cell therapy treatments. She was able to go dancing with her husband. We have a video where she shared how fast her symptoms were able to improve, even though she had multiple sclerosis actually for 20 years. And we worked with clients who had different types of diseases. And we're going to talk about here why nutrition is so important for you and why it works when it's done correctly. So in this presentation, I'm going to cover like the topic of MS, which is really interesting. That is going to really be an eye opening for you. So pay attention. And we do go into really depth in these classes with our clients. They're going to learn everything they need to know about nutrition and disease reversal. And with our personal help, we're going to be personalizing it for them. But again, this is a proven process that we teach our clients that help them get their health back rapidly within a matter of weeks, not months. So the first thing I want you to understand is that there's two types of multiple sclerosis. There's a relapsing, remitting, and primary progressive. So relapsing means that you have an episode followed by a period of remission. And one of the things that the drugs get credit for a lot is what happens that has been a spontaneous remission for a period of time before the disease starts to progress again. So I think that makes the medical literature kind of confusing on the effects of drugs. So they will show you some pretty good data on the efficacy of drugs, but the reality is it's not the truth. That it's not the drug, is that the person just went into remission, regardless of whether or not they were taking drugs. So what are the causes of MS? We have people who say it's genetics, people who say it's an unknown cause. Studies show in areas of the world where, people who consume diet high in saturated fat, the incidence of autoimmune diseases are higher as well. where people live in the countries such as US, Canada, and Europe. So the relationship is even true within countries. So in Norway, where diet is much lower in saturated fat, in coastal areas, you see a difference in the incidence of multiple sclerosis. So let's just quickly jump into Dr. Roy Swank. He is considered the grandfather of research on multiple sclerosis, and he proved that with a great deal of research that sometimes a mass begins in infancy. Infancy. Oh, actually, where did my video go? Let me put it back. Oh, okay. Am I sharing the screen? It disappeared. Okay, going back to. Oh, it became bigger like that. Never mind. How do I? Let's see. Oh, here you go. I made it. No, but I'm not sharing the screen though. Let me see. Share the screen. It still goes. Okay. Am I still sharing the screen? Actually, let me check. Because my video just went back. Let me see. Oh, there's a little delay on Facebook. Okay, so I'm still sharing the screen. It looks like it. Yeah, okay, great. So going back to this presentation here. Yeah, I'm still sharing the screen. Great. So I'm gonna just zoom, make this video smaller. So what did we left off? So Dr. Roy Swank, he proved that with a great deal of research that sometimes a mass begins in infancy and formula-fed babies lay down a very poor foundation in myelin that becomes more susceptible to injury. And later a virus or bacteria and lots of different things can happen. They injure the nervous system. And these injuries are almost always near the blood vessels, which caused Swank to believe that the diet that caused injury to the blood vessels is contributing factor to neurological diseases. In a program, we also reversed vasculitis, and we're going to teach you how to do that as well when you work with us. So according to several different papers, papers that Swank authored. He authored a lot of them. When people eat, when they eat a diet that's high in saturated fat, the blood vessels are coated and stick together, and then they clump form in every capillary, and oxygen tension, the blood vessels drops, and it disturbs the blood-brain barrier, allowing substances access to the nervous system that would not normally cross the barrier. Antibodies to food proteins resulting from leaky gut attack the myelin. So Swank concluded that a mass was a result of both the weakening of the blood-brain barrier and the intestinal mucosa. And he was talking about inflammation in the gut. So he concluded, he did this initial trial on 144 patients from the Montreal Neurological Institute, and he followed them for 34 years, which is really a long time. And he found that people who changed their diet, the progression of a mass was stopped or reduced, and the reduction was actually really effective even for people who had advanced mass at the start of the study. And again, this is a long study. It's a 34 year study. And the first year there was 70% reduction in what's called exacerbations, flares of the nervous system disorder, and 95% of patients saw total reduction, which remained constant for 16 years, and only 5% of patients died. And 80% of patients who did not change their diet, MS, they died during that period of the study. So this is the 34 study. And we say with certainty that you're more likely to benefit, highly likely to benefit from changing your diet, especially what we teach our clients. Because again, this is an old study. This is just some changes that they made to their diet. It's not at all similar to what we teach to our clients. What we teach to our clients is far more advanced. It's far more rapid. But this just shows you that, for 34 years, 70% of patients who changed their diet saw improvements. 95% of patients, they saw reduction in the disease, but for 16 years. And 80% of patients who did not change their diet, they actually died during that time period. So, summary, we already did the summary. Okay, so let's talk about the drug treatments. The drugs are incredibly effective. Like, they're not effective. They're ineffective for MS, and they credit for the relapsing remitting pattern in the beginning of the MS. So, for example, these are the two common, drugs: interferon beta, which is a common drug, and this is part of the informed medical decision making. And if you're having trouble with, changing your diet, I want you to show what happens if you take the drugs. Okay, so you need to see what happens if you just take the drugs, but you don't change the diet. So basically, the whole bottom of the story is if you take the drugs, you don't change the diet the right way, these patients became on a wheelchair and disabled. So among the patients with relapse remitting MS, administration of interferon beta was not associated with a reduction in progression of disability. The ultimate goal of treatment for MS is to prevent or delay long-term disability, and this did not happen with the drug use. This is a study I linked here. So this is what's called a scheme. Okay, this is what was called a scheme. And the National Health Service in the United Kingdom had money problems for years, and sooner or later you run out of money to treat sick people. And they noticed that MS patients who declined medication seem to be doing better than the ones medicated. And they went to the drug companies and they said, "We'd like to propose paying you based on the efficacy rate of your drugs." So the drug companies agreed to do this, and this was called the scheme. So patients continued to say no to drugs, and some patients were medicated with the drugs. And at the end of the period, they looked at it, and patients taking the drugs were worse than the patients who didn't take the drugs. These patients weren't put on any type of diet, anything at all, that what we do in our program. So that, or the Swan's diet, and these people were just sent home to live their life, and probably were still eating pretty terribly, like the patients who were taking the drugs. And National Health Service said that, to these drug companies, that they own them money because now they have sicker people that they have to take care of. And the drug companies, they actually refused. They refused to pay. And you could follow the story in the British Medical Journal for a good time, where they fought over what to do, and it never got resolved. And this was the conclusion. And it's really important to read that when you start looking at what the most independent medical journals organizations said, that they use the best drugs that we have available, which cost about $56,000 a year for the average MS patient, have absolutely no effect, and the same number of people will be disabled, wheelchair bound, bed bound, or dead at the end of the period of time. So that makes a compelling case for the nutrition, don't you think so? So the summary is, the bottom line is that autoimmune diseases, okay, autoimmune diseases are a result of poor nutrition, not having the right tools to repair from the disease, even if you got sick, lifestyle habits, which lead to things like high estrogen levels, leaky gut, molecular mimicry. All of that we do teach in a program, how to reverse it, how to heal the whole body, chronic infections, chronic inflammation, allergies, asthma. And if we change those things, we can change the outcome. So you can keep more autoimmune diseases from developing. And we see people who have autoimmune diseases, some of them started, as a psoriasis when they were children, and then it developed into lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, Hashimoto's thyroiditis. It just goes on and on. It never ends, right? So we are in the process fixing that. So if you want to learn how to stop these autoimmune diseases from progressing, as well as repair the damage that's been done by an autoimmune disease. So regardless how long you've been sick, like I said, we worked with some clients who were sick for a long time, and even they were able to recover and get better and see improvements, reduce the need for medications. So nutrition, it always works when it's done correctly. So the only time it's not working for you is because you're doing things that are wrong that you're not realizing, or you're not doing enough of the right things long enough time to see a breakthrough in your symptoms and recovery. And that's the reason why we work with our clients every single day for a period of time, because we monitor the execution in the program, which eliminates room for error. So if I'm monitoring with you every day, we walk you through a proven process, we personalize it for you, make adjustments when needed. What is the chance, that you're going to get better with that type of support? It was going to be at least 80 or 50% chance that you're going to get better, right? Versus when you're trying to guess and you combine different programs together, that's why people are not successful at reversing their disease or even achieving better results than what they're getting, is because they're combining different things together. This makes sense to me, I'm going to do this, but you really need to have a structure and answer your questions, because you're going to go different ways, right? Anything, you can find anything on the internet. You can find any things that can make sense to you. Any different diets can make sense to you, but we help you understand what works long term. We do have clients who we worked with for 5 years ago. One of our clients who had Hashimoto's, she's off all of her thyroid medications and all her symptoms are gone. And it's already been 5 years since we worked together. She's still doing great. So people who follow a process, they either remain in remission long term. So remission means, absence of symptoms, but we also have clients who reverse their antibodies. The only time they're not reversing their autoimmune markers is because they went back to doing things that got them sick in the first place. So it's going to be your responsibility to follow what we teach in a program, right? But we do know it works and it benefits people long term if they follow exactly what we do and personalize it for you. So I hope this really was interesting to you. I can do a short presentation like that if you find it interesting to you. Hi, Lori. Good to see you. Thanks for tagging your friend. And of course, we have tons of classes. We teach our clients. Our clients get access to all this education that we teach, and then we answer their questions. And I continue creating new classes. We don't just start, okay, here's class that I taught 10 years ago. We continue updating information and updating them with new things. So if you find something that works better for our clients, we're going to teach it in the program. We're going to update them. And there's some things I didn't know myself 10 years ago that I know now, or maybe even 5 years ago that I did not know. So that's why people start in different stages of the healing. Some are really sick, some are maybe not so sick. They want to improve their energy levels or fatigue. It still benefits you because, what we teach reverse markers and symptoms for people rapidly. And of course, we have our clients who share their progress on this page that you can go through to see what kind of improvements they've seen. But everybody starts on different journeys. And question people ask us, can I feel better? The question is always yes, even if you've been sick for 40 years. But it really does require, commitment to doing the right things long enough to be able to have that breakthrough. And that's why we help people and guide them through it to make sure that they are doing everything they can to feel better as rapidly as possible. But we also teach the science behind what you're doing. So you understand, why am I doing this? Why am I not doing this? Because we educate you on it. So there's tons of classes we teach our clients that you get access to, as well as a client community to work together. And then so if you struggling with any type of disease, feel free to send us an email, and then we can talk about how we can help you if it makes sense to work together. So hope this video was interesting to you. I have tons more classes like this to teach. If you found it helpful, let me know in the comments, and then I'm gonna share with you to other classes. But of course, everybody who's starting with us next week, we're looking forward to helping you get the have the experience of getting your health back and really putting the missing pieces together. Thanks for joining, everyone. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week and you have a great weekend. And then we'll talk to you soon. Let me see, how do I